Today we are beginning our probability unit. Please copy down the standard benchmark indicator at the top of a clean page in your math notebook. The student will predict the probability of outcomes of simple experiments, representing it with fractions or decimals from 0 to 1. You can pause the video here to give yourself time to write down the SBI. Please glue in the 5 vocabulary cards that you got as part of this packet. The definitions you need to know for probability are: probability, the chance that an event will happen; outcome, possible results of the experiment; experiment, a situation that can happen in more than one way; sample space, the set of all possible outcomes of an experiment; and finally, chance, a possibility or likelihood of something happening. The second page in your packet is a likelihood line. This is just a line that helps us decide what is the likelihood, what is the chance that an event will happen. For example, if we take the event, it will snow here on Friday. That's unlikely to happen here because it's May and it's spring, but it could. We have had snow this late, so it's not impossible. So we're going to write it down underneath unlikely. An impossible event could be something along the lines of the moon will give off light. Right? It doesn't actually give off its own light, it just reflects the sunlight. A maybe event is an event where you have a 50-50 chance of it happening. So, for example, if I flip a coin, I have a 50% chance of getting heads. A likely event is one that we're pretty sure could happen, but it's not certain. For example, you will have homework tomorrow. Finally, a certain event is one that we are absolutely certain, or 99.9% certain, is going to happen. For example, the sun will come up tomorrow. Even if we can't see it, we know it's going to come up because that's what the sun does every day. The next thing we're going to look at is actually starting to assign mathematical probabilities of things happening to these different spots. So if something's impossible, there is 0 chance of it happening. If something is certainly going to happen, we're going to put it as a 1 because we're going to use fractions and decimals, or we could call it 100%. As we said earlier, a maybe is a 50% chance or a 1/2 chance of this happening. Likely, since it's halfway between 100% and 50%, we're going to call it 75% or 3/4. And then unlikely, since it's halfway between 0 and 1/2, we're going to call it 1/4 or 25%. This allows us to then take mathematical problems of probability and actually assign them locations on the likelihood line as well. Now we can start putting events that don't fall in one of these specific categories on here. For example, if I roll a number cube and want to get a 6, the likelihood of that happening is 1/6. So that's going to go in between impossible and unlikely. Another one we could put on a line that would show it in between maybe and likely would be if I have 10 names in a jar and I've got 6 girls and 4 boys in it. If I want to pull a girl's name out, I have a 60% chance of that happening. So that's going to fall a little past 50. And the nice thing is, as we continue to work through our probability unit, you'll be able to figure out the mathematical probability of all different events, and this will help you decide how likely they are to happen. So please make sure you have this all copied down and glue this into your math notebook.